Today I want to talk about the incredible range of projects an illustrator could work on. Some people just starting out have a particular idea of what they want to do with illustration, but I say, why limit yourself to just one thing when it seems like there are endless possibilities of what an illustrator can do with their art? Before I get into what those possibilities are, I want to share a little story about how to explain illustration to others. I started thinking about this a few weeks back when I got a question from an illustrator called Manoj, I hope I'm saying that right, based on a line in my book, "Illustration is a fascinating career to talk about and share." I genuinely believe that because I see the artists I work with working on so many different kinds of projects. But you know what? It's actually not that easy to explain to someone who doesn't have a background in the creative industry. When I was trying to be an illustrator many years ago, I struggled to communicate what it was I was trying to achieve to my family. My mum was a nurse who was the daughter of a nurse, and my dad was a woodworker who was the son of a woodworker. That is creative work, and my dad can draw very well, but I think his experience was more with technical drawing for planning out projects like wood carvings, for example. Illustration is a pretty different world to what they know, and the simplest way I could explain it at the time was to talk about illustrated books, because they've been around for long before my parents or my grandparents were born, so they could understand that, even though I really didn't have any interest in working on books. I'm actually not sure I've ever really revised my explanation of what illustration involves, or can be, so I should probably send this video to them. Then once I became an agent, it got even harder to explain. Honestly, sometimes if I couldn't be bothered to get into an explanation of what it is I do, when I was meeting a new person, I'd just say graphic designer. Not remotely accurate, but people are much more familiar with that, so I used it as a time saver. God, I'm such a miserable bastard sometimes. Anyway, I stopped all that when my friend Matt encouraged me to work on my elevator pitch, and now I have a very clear and succinct way to explain it. I had to think about it quite a lot though. I work with illustrators to help them find work in advertising, publishing, and magazines. I do the business part so they can concentrate on the creative part. It doesn't entirely cover it, but it gets the general idea across. Manoj told me he was training to be an architect until he switched careers to be an illustrator, and his mum no longer knew how to explain what he does to her friends and relatives. I imagine my mum can relate to that too. So if I were explaining illustration to someone with a more conventional career path today, I'd probably start by pointing out some of the things they see in their day-to-day lives that use illustration, but they may not have actively noticed them or considered them as creative projects that people get paid to make. This is very easy to do because even looking around my desk now, I can see a chewing gum pack with an illustration on it, illustrated book covers, my credit card has an illustration on it, I've even still got a Christmas card over there that's illustrated. If I go to my kitchen, I'll see cereal boxes, crisp packets, milk cartons, salad dressing, coffee cans. Even the Jolly Green Giant is an illustration. It's everywhere. But if you're not actively looking for it, you don't see it, and plenty of people aren't looking for it. Illustration isn't new. The use cases have increased over time, but illustration has been used for a long, long time, from illuminated manuscripts to wartime propaganda. So let's look at some examples of different kinds of illustration projects, and maybe you'll get some ideas of new projects you'd like to add to your portfolio or work on in your illustration career. Magazines and newspapers. Books, inside and outside. Textiles for cushions or curtains. Food. You know I'm looking at a lot of food packaging. Alcohol, wine labels, beer cans, spirit bottles. Illustration is really popular for anything where the main selling point is a flavor or a smell. Candles, moisturizer, hand cream, shower gel, playing cards. This is a particular favorite of mine. Event posters, comic books, movie posters, websites. Now this could be decorative, it could be instructional, it could also be functional icons for navigating the website, online articles, toys and games, board games and computer games, instructions. Have you ever bought furniture from IKEA? Maps. Logos, album covers, postage stamps, clothes, lettering. And there's plenty more unique and unusual use cases too. There are so many opportunities for a skilled illustrator. So there it is in a nutshell. These are just some of the things illustrators can work on, and I hope you get the opportunity to work on all of these things so you can find out what you enjoy the most. Some pay better than others, some are quick and some take a long time, but you're never going to get bored with an illustration career. See you next time.